Good morning, everyone. Today is Thursday, May 14th, 2020, and today we're going to be continuing another chapter from our story, Coo. Chapter 18, Pigeon Roof. After Christmas came New Year's Eve, with shiny paper hats from the dollar store and little noisy things called kazoos that made Bird jump. Outside, those dark streets rang with bangs and shouts and laughter. It snowed lightly. Coo stayed up later than she ever had before, but still fell asleep before the clock reached midnight, and the next year began. Tully bought a brand new calendar at the drugstore. It was full of different birds. Parrots, penguins, finches, ravens. Coo flipped through the months again and again, looking at them. These birds lived all over the world, in all kinds of wild green places. There were no pictures that looked like Coo's neighborhood and no pigeons. Coo thought about what Tully had said about people and pigeons, that no one counted them for good reasons, and not everyone thought they were wonderful. Humans celebrated so many kinds of birds, but not pigeons, it seemed. It made Coo feel angry and sad. Aggie went back to school, and the apartment was very quiet. She had too much homework to come over in the evenings. Coo spent a lot of time trying to knit a tiny red scarf for Queenie. Knitting was every bit as hard as it looked, and the scarf was turning out very lumpy, but Queenie didn't seem to mind. "Please visit the flock," Coo begged it over and over, but Tully was firm. "That man from the city saw my ID. He knows my name. Do you understand how serious trespassing is?" Tully sighed. "No, you probably don't. Birds don't believe in those sort of rules." Even Bird took Tully's side. "Safer here, us," he's told Coo. "Flock take cares of flock. Don't you worry, you." But Coo couldn't help it. One morning, a few days after Aggie started school again, on the calendar square that read Saturday, the door rang. Coo was so excited she had to jump up and down while Tully peered through the peephole. "I'm back," Aggie shrieked when Tully finally opened the door. "Did you miss me?" Coo had missed her so much, all her human words failed her, and she could only nod. It was a warm day for winter. January thaw, Tully called it. So they decided to go to a place Coo had never been, the park. She glimpsed the park a few times on walks with Tully. It was a square block of tangled-looking metal bars and planks and rubber flaps on chains, surrounded by benches and some trees. A big metal fence marched all the way around it. Coo wasn't sure she wanted to go to the park. Aggie said the park was fun. "We can maybe use some of the swings in our dance if it's not too busy." They were still working on Pigeon Roof, but first let's just swing like normal. The park was breezy and sunbright when they arrived. Some tiny kids were playing on the jungle gym with their mothers, but Aggie and Coo had the things Aggie called swings all to themselves. Tully sat on a bench knitting a peach pink sweater vest for Coo. She said she would make a matching one for Aggie too, and a sling for Burr from the same yarn. Coo had never been on a swing before. Aggie leaped on one and started pumping her legs, but Coo only stood next to hers, touching the seat with one mitten. It wobbled, and she took a step back. Aggie slowed, dragging her feet against the bouncy rubber padding on the ground until she came to a stop. She frowned. "Don't like it? Does it make you feel queasy?" Coo didn't know what queasy meant. Taking a deep breath, she plopped down on the swing, grabbed the chains on both hands, and began shuffling her feet back and forth and kicking. Nothing happened. "Wait," a look of astonishment passed over Aggie's face. "You don't know how. They don't have swings in that place you're from? Here, let me show you." Aggie showed Coo how to lean back and kick at the same time, and within minutes, all of Coo's fears dissolved into bliss. She swung up high, 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 enough to see the tops of the small baby trees that ringed the park. The sun was suddenly close. Wind whipped the bangs on her forehead under her hat. She forgot her worries about the flock. Swinging was like flying. Finally, Aggie slowed down and stopped, and so did Coo. She felt a little dizzy. "See, it's fun," Aggie said, smiling. "I wish we could swing every day, all day. And read books. No school. Did you start your new school yet?" Coo's fizzy, joyful feeling turned flat. "No," she said, shaking her head. "Are you starting soon?" "No. But everyone goes to school. Is Tilly going to homeschool you or something?" "Yes," Coo said, even though she didn't quite understand Aggie's question. She didn't want to talk about school anyway. "Huh, well, if she changed her mind, you can come to my school and be in my class." Aggie looked thoughtful. "I wonder if you get to pick your teacher when you start at a new school." "Anyway, you should pick mine, Miss Krug. She's nice. You know, she likes birds too. We have two class parakeets, Francine and Floyd." Aggie paused and tilted her head. Parakeets are tiny tropical birds. They're cute. They come in like neon colors. Like highlighter pens, Francine is yellow and Floyd is blue. Birds. Suddenly, Koo thought of the flock. What if Frank and Stan were in the alley right now, hurting them? Tully wouldn't let her check on them. Koo's eyes filled with tears and that were very hot in the cold air. Are you crying? Aggie's face fell. Wait, what's wrong? Are you upset about school? Did you have a bad experience with parakeets? Tully won't let me see them, Koo managed to whisper. See who? My flock, the pigeons. Oh, said Aggie, because Tully is scared to go back there? Yeah, those guys were really weird and bad. Maybe they hurt my flock. I wouldn't worry. Why would the flock be hurt? Aggie shrugged. I was thinking about this more. They're birds. They have wings. If someone tries to hurt them, they can just fly away. Koo dragged her toe on the ground under the swing and studied the line with her shoe made on the rubbery black surface. Sometimes Sugar Plum goes out on the fire escape, and I worry something will happen to him, Aggie said more softly. Like he'll go down to the street and get hit by a car, or someone will kidnap him. But he's always okay. Animals are good at taking care of themselves. Popo always told me that. Koo began to cry harder. She didn't want to think about cats on fire escapes, even sweet ones like Sugar Plum, but she also knew Aggie was just trying to be kind. Hey, we could ask my brother Henry or someone to check the alley and the pigeons. Would that make you feel better? Asked Aggie. He wouldn't be scared of those guys. Maybe, whispered Koo. She felt shy thinking about Aggie's brother and sister. A small cream and purple pigeon was pecking its way around the swing sets, part of the flock that was scattered around the playground. Staring at her, Koo suddenly got an idea. Koo rubbed her eyes against the sleeve of her coat and then kneeled as close as she could to the bird. Help me, you, she said. Need to check on flock, me. The pigeon made a shocked gurgle and flapped back. Me no harm, me, Koo cried. Two more pigeons, bolder ones, swooped down and landed near Koo. Speak, you, said a larger one, a male with speckled white and black feathers like cookies and cream. How? Strange, said the other, who was all shades of purple and gray. Humans speak? Never. Speak me, Koo said. In a mysterious way, pigeon flocks always seemed able to communicate, all at once, and the others were around them, steaming from every part of the playground in a rush of wings. Koo, said Aggie, wide-eyed and sitting very still on her swing as the birds zoomed around her. What is happening? How? An older gray bird said, landing on Koo's outstretched hand. Explain, you. Learn from my flock, me, said Koo. Nervously, she looked over at the bench where Tully sat and was relieved to see she was hunched over, scowling at her knitting. Koo recognized the look. Tully had dropped another stitch. That always took a while to fix. Koo? Aggie left the swing and crouched down beside her. Are you talking to them? Sort of, said Koo. Speak more, you, the bird on her hand demanded. From where are you? That strange flock, said the bird, who was very purple. Heard about them, living with a human, them. Didn't think you were real, me, said a ragged-looking bird of the color of a sidewalk concrete, who was peering at Koo carefully. Special, you, very special. Just like the time she helped the injured pigeon outside Goodwill so long ago, it turned out that some of the pigeons were dimly aware of her. Know my flock, you? Koo asked each bird. Fly to them, you? Speak to them, you? Koo tried to describe where her flock lived and the suspicious visitors from the city, and why she couldn't visit on her own. She asked if anyone could go check on them. But none of the pigeons knew exactly where her flock or her roof was. Many flocks here, said the concrete-colored bird. Many roofs. Sick flocks, heard of those, piped up a very tiny pigeon. Many dead, not here. Koo's heart began to pound. She slowly stood up and began to walk back toward the swing. The pigeons flapped and scurried around her, pelting her with random questions she was too overwhelmed to answer. Koo, how did you learn pigeon? Asked Aggie, following her. Wait, are you okay? No, Koo murmured. She felt tears burning at her eyelids again and pressed her rough wool mittens against them. Then she took a ragged breath and looked at Aggie. Something to tell you. Secret, okay? Wow, Aggie said when Koo had finished telling her everything, from her life with the flock of Milton Burr on the roof to how she came to live with Tully and why she wasn't in school. They were sitting on the swings again, whispering quietly, shielded from Tully's view by a big oak. Sharing with Aggie made Koo feel relieved, like drinking a gulp of a puddle after a long time with no rain. You believe me? Koo asked. Of course I do, said Aggie, rattling her swing chains for emphasis. It makes everything about you make sense. The way you talk and the wild way you can talk to birds. She shook her head. It's totally nuts, but I believe you. You believe me, right? Koo nodded, relieved. Do you know how famous you'd be if you told people about your life? Aggie peered at Koo. I guess it would be bad, too. I don't think you'd get to be a normal kid. She bit her lip. Also, where is Devkadia? Are your parents real? No, Tuli made it up. I lived in a dovecot, a house for pigeons, on my roof. We didn't call it a dovecot. Koo made the soft whooshing sound of the pigeon word for a dovecot. Aggie tried and failed to copy it. Pigeon is a hard language, said Aggie, but why can't you go to school? Because of rules, Koo felt another wave of relief as the human words flowed out of her mind and mouth. At least some things were getting much easier. No one knows I live with Tuli. And Tuli's freaked out? Yes, someone could take me away. It's a secret. Don't worry, I won't tell anyone, I promise. I'll pinky swear. Pinky swear? I bet you've never pinky sworn about anything, have you? Being from Devkadia and all. Aggie giggled. Or do pigeons pinky swear with their toes? They're so much more smarter than I even thought. She looked thoughtful. Anyway, you aren't allowed to break a pinky swear. Here. Aggie showed her how to hook her pinkies together. I promise not to tell anyone your secrets, Koo. Aggie looked her in the eyes and shook her pinky. There, now you don't have to worry. Walking back from the park, something strange happened. While they waited for a light to change on the busy road, Tuli looked up at a bus stopped beside them and gasped. Behind me, Koo, she snapped, pushing Koo to one side. Why? Koo asked. What's going on, Tuli? Aggie asked. Tuli didn't reply. Her whole face was a mask of worry. The light changed and she hurried them home, refusing to explain. Koo stared back at the bus, and it disappeared down the boulevard. What had Tuli seen? And that ends our chapter for today. I hope you guys have a great rest of your afternoon, and we will continue our story tomorrow.